Yeah, I was just saying, like, to wrap your head around it, this legislation wasn't written in a void. You know, there's direct knowledge of the people that helped craft that to go after the corporations that work with DoD as contractors who have, I'll just say hardware, but people came on our show and admitted in the DIA full craft. So think about it this way. You don't have to know every detail of it, but the fact they were motivated at the highest levels of government to write that piece of legislation being like, we know you have it, we know, they know where a lot of it's stored, and we're coming after it. That alone should tell you that the UFO topic, crashed flying saucers, although they're not all saucer shaped, that's a real thing. And once that sinks in and you really understand that, then the big questions start coming. Why has this been hidden? What is it, you know, who's operating them? What is the intent? What has this whole game been about? That's the stuff that just lights my brain on fire. You know, once that really sinks in, that this shit is real, man. Not all of it.
This morning, Jeremy and I gave a talk about, it's focused on something called Kona Blue. So in 2019, I co-wrote a book with a guy who had been at the DIA. His name is Dr. James Lakatsky. He and his, the project manager, Dr. Callum Kelleher, had been part of this program, AAWSAP, that was based in Las Vegas, run by the DIA, the largest acknowledged government-funded UFO study ever. It got into a lot of other weird stuff that came with UFOs, but it was hugely ambitious. They created the largest UFO data warehouse in the world, some 260,000 cases, all collated, all put together, a really valuable resource. They produced more than 100 highly detailed engineering reports about things like the Tic Tac, about human effects, when humans get too close to UFOs, what it does to them. Serious health effects that have been really well documented by medical doctors. Those reports, not one single page of that stuff has been made public, but the work was done. And part of the contract that AAWSAP had was, look, Bigelow Aerospace in Las Vegas was supposed to get some of the goods. They made massive changes to the aerospace plant. It was a condition of the contract that they prepare to receive special materials. They never got it. When they went knocking on the door to ask for it, that's when the program got knifed and got kneecapped. A subsequent program was proposed by the same people. They took it to the Department of Homeland Security in 2011 and 12, spent 15 months working it out. What the documents just recently released earlier this year show is that this program, codenamed Kona Blue, was looking for the goods. And they use sort of code language, but it doesn't take much to read between the lines. We are looking for special materials of unique origin to analyze. We want to collect UFO information, analyze this stuff, see if we could duplicate the technology. Documents now available. AARO, the current UFO program, the cover-up agency by the Department of Defense, tried to use the Kona Blue document to discredit all these whistleblowers who gave testimony about crash saucers and reverse engineering. But in fact, it backfires because that program never existed. It was stopped before it could get going, but they convinced the Department of Homeland Security this stuff is real. We've got it. Let's go get it.
That's so fascinating. I feel like it's so interesting how so many of these issues boil down to humanity, where like they kind of want credit. Like everybody, it's not that they are like even keeping it because they're like the highfalutin, it's going to destroy the fabric of American society. They're literally like, no, that's our shit. Yeah, like that's our shit. We're going to try to get something out of it for us.
But there is a level of secrecy that has been persistent. Once you get up the food chain on this and you get, luckily, George and I have been able to really get high on that food chain, people who have direct knowledge. There's no intention of any of those agencies, group, or individuals to tell the world about UFOs, that it's real, there's a presence, it's been happening a long time. And the reason for that has still eluded us. Every time we get to that top moment, we feel like we're about to get a straight answer. It's ominous. They're like, don't kick the lying dog is something that someone, like, it freaks me out because it is held so tight. Why out of everything in this world is this held so tight? And that I don't have an answer to yet. I don't.
Yeah, because open discourse amongst everyone would only improve our knowledge.
Thing is, there are inherent national security implications for this. There's just no getting around to it. There is a race for this technology. The highest level people who've worked on this that we have met and talked to and got to know really well say There is a race for it. We're trying to figure it out, duplicate it. And the Russians are, and the Chinese, maybe the Israelis, maybe the Iranians, maybe a couple of other countries. There's a race for it. And whoever gets it first wins. And so our government might want to acknowledge at some level that this is real, but they never want to tell how much we know or how much progress we have made or haven't made to our adversaries, because there is competition and the consequences are serious. There also is the unanswered question of what it is. We all say we're ready for the truth. We can handle it. Let's hear it. We don't really know what it is. Are we a farm? Are we a zoo? Are we an agricultural product? Did they genetically manipulate us to become who we are? And if so, where does that lead? What's the long range plan? We have no idea. But I mean, once you open that door, the questions never stop coming.
Yeah.
You can't just be a little bit pregnant kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Tell
maybe,
me.
Yeah.
No, I know. But it's also like that thing. I think that's the truth. And I think that they're not prepared for the influx, literally, of just the constant mountain of questions. You know, like that how much this is going to change stuff. How much this is like, you know, like what you're going to have to deal with. What if the big answer is like, well, we don't know what they are. We don't know what they do. We kind of feel like they might be mad at us, but we don't know anything else.
Yeah. What government wants to say that? What president wants to make that announcement? You never get anything else done. You know, how do people react? We don't really know.
Well,
you know,
we've admitted we don't have 360 air dominance now. They admit UFOs, UAPs are real. They fly with impunity within a restricted airspace. They can turn on and off nuclear weapons. This is all documented in military files that have been FOIA'd or come out. So we've already admitted that there is a presence of an advanced technology. We don't know who made it. We don't know what the intent is, and we don't know the capability. So we're already kind of in the water. It's going to be hard to get out of that, because at this point we have admitted that. Our government, other governments have admitted UFOs are real. And so from there, the questions are already starting to boil.
There's also a human element to it. As I was told this by a congressional investigator who worked on the black budget many years ago. He says, look, he went out to Area 51. I gave him a briefing, go here and look around. He couldn't find what he was looking for, but he came back convinced it is real. We do have this technology. It's stashed away. And he said to me, look, when this comes out, people are going to go to prison. I think, a long time ago when this cover-up, our government cover-up started, there was probably a legitimate reason. We'd just come out of the World War II. Cold War was beginning. How do we tell the public about this? What do you say? Yeah. So we'll keep it secret. And since then, they've told so many lies to the public, to Congress. There's probably hundreds of millions of dollars from legitimate national security programs that have been absconded and moved into something else without permission. People would go to prison for this if it all came out. And I think that was part of what the Schumer legislation would have done, is given them an out.
An out, like a whistleblower status.
Straight up, Lockheed Martin wanted to divest their Lockheed Martin has UFO materials, likely a full UFO. On good sources, we know it to be true. Lockheed Martin tried to divest, take it out the back door, bring it in the front. So some companies realize they're going to be in hot water if this shit comes out. And even the Canadian, one of the Canadian Parliament members, the guy Larry, an MP, he wrote this letter. It's like, we better get ahead of this. If we don't get ahead of this, our nation's not going to trust us. Yeah. So that's the kind of where we're at, man. This is like easy way or hard way. Hard way is the easy way is they stop lying and give the basics, just like we do about the nuclear programs. Nuclear bombs exist. Yeah. We're not going to give you the schematics how to build them. Same thing needs to happen with the UFO presence, the UFO reality. And if it doesn't, it's going to happen the hard way. And the hard way is going to be leaks and whistleblowers and shit that's uncontrolled.
Oh yeah, there was catastrophic disclosure.
Yeah,
for
that's
that
a weird term. I don't know what that means. Not this catastrophic. Just disclose it.
It doesn't matter.
Easy way or hard way.
But they have really good recruiters in these intelligence agencies, because if you gave me even one of these secrets, I'd just be walking around like, do you know what I know? You don't know what I know. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to not just get off. I mean, because I know they do get off on it. Yeah. I think that's where you you have to have somebody who gets off on keeping secrets and liking it.
That is true, but also, so there is an element of that, like the Gollum ring, like people like, I know this and no one else does.
The secret.
We've ran into that. But there's also people who are true patriots and see the dangers outweigh. here's the deal. As journalists,
I just forget about patriotism. Like I forget it's like a thing. I forget that like people really do get up every day.
Red Dawn with aliens, bro.
Yeah.
But I mean, as journalists, I'm following in his footsteps. It's like, there's a public need to know the fundamental truth. Nobody has right to hold back something that is natural in the natural world from the global and American public. That's bullshit. Ain't nobody my daddy. I never asked somebody not to tell me about the world.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
I'm less ticked off by the secrecy than I am by the lies.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely dumping on the public and misleading them and flat out lying.
And ruining people's lives along the way.
Yes.
Straight up. And making it a laugh factory. Like this is not something for serious people to seriously look at. That was a deployed misinformation, disinformation campaign all the way back from the day. You can trace that back. You're supposed to not take it seriously. You're supposed to be a mockery if you even ask a question. Now, where we are in 2024, it's a different world we're living in.
Yes.
When he started, they made jokes and cartoons about him being the crazy UFO guy.
Another
And now-
little green men story.
yeah,
in the
and now
news.
people are appreciating, when you really can break some of this news. But it's hard. It's not easy. There's a lot of roadblocks to getting the truth out about this, whatever it might be, and I don't claim to know it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, I guess there's no way to really prove this, but how much alien technology is in everyday life, you think? Like, do you think any of it or nothing? Some, none?
I don't know of any for sure.
You don't think we got Wi-Fi from it? That's what they say.
Well,
Like,
I mean, Phil Corso, before that name went public, I was going to write his book. We had reached out to each other, and
from the day after Roswell.
The day after Roswell. So I knew him 4 years before the book came out, and we were working on it. And he shared with me some claims. I mean, I think they became exaggerated in the book that was eventually published. But he said, night vision. We got to jump on night vision from the eyes of these beings. He said we got fiber optics from them.
Yeah, I remember that. You got from
transistors.
from the ship.
A lot of really major industries and major consumer products and things that we use every day that he said were given to national labs and private labs and just said, hey, we've got this stuff. The assumption was it was from a crash of some foreign plane, Russian technology that the CIA had got, and they dished it out to industry to develop. Now, you look at the history of those particular products, no company wants to say, oh, yeah, we got this idea from aliens. It was all our idea.
Yeah, we got it from apples.
I think the examples could have been used to inspire some research on our part. I've heard stories from direct people that Jeremy and I know that a Russian UFO crash had been used to develop a weapon that they'd just been dying to use. I don't think it's like a mass annihilation kind of a weapon, but you see these examples where Russian craft are flying really close to our ships and they come close to knocking down our spy planes, and they're just like begging for us to engage with them so they can unleash this thing. I don't know what that weapon is, but I'm told it's real, that they got it from somewhere else.
All right.
They're in the middle of a war right now. Wouldn't they be using it?
You should be
you'd think.
using it. Yeah.
Because, when do you unleash that? Supposedly we have all this technology that's so far advanced and 25 years in the future, and it can fly to Mars. That's what Ben Rich is hinting, that it could go to the stars and take ET home. When the hell are we going to break that stuff out?
Exactly. I feel like if China has the most exclusive drones in the world, they would definitely right now being a big, like saying, fuck you, Biden in the sky. You know what I mean? Like, and then zapping in the sky. Like, why would they hold back?
Yeah. The truth is, even with the 2019 events off the West Coast, huge UFO event swarm, we don't know whose technology, those transmedium vehicles from pilots, some of the helicopter pilots, seeing them go in and out of the water. Like, we don't know to this day whose tech that is. I hear it's derivative technologies. We study this stuff. We try to get some derivative technologies through reverse engineering, but the throttle is the material science, to the best of my understanding, that we can't replicate atomic alignment. So we can't replicate, because that's how you make metamaterials that have special properties, like graphene, right?
Yeah.
Look up graphene on the internet, right? So it's like perfect alignment of atoms creates metamaterials. It's we can get derivative technologies, but we can't replicate, because of where we are with material science, like the full craft or the propulsion system. This goes all the way back to Bob Lazar. He says there's no way. There's no way we can physically make this at this time. One day we will be able to, but now, not now. So maybe we have some evolving to do before we can get there.
All right.